Rise and shine, beautiful souls. So listen, today I want to talk to you guys about something that's very, very important. Most of us are pursuing a relationship. Either you're already in one or you're going to be pursuing one, right? And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that. We all have different ways in which we raise our children, but in our Western society, we know there is a way in most men are raised, and there's a way in how most women are raised, right? Well, women are taught to express their feelings, right? They grow up with dolls. They can play relationships and play marriage and play dating with their toys and dialogue and get this done. Men have action figures in which they just fight, right? For the most part, or race cars or whatever, but we don't dialogue in terms of a relationship. So while you're raising this woman to be prepared to be somebody's wife or significant other, this man has no clue what that's even about. So often, more times than not, a man doesn't know how to express himself, although he may share some of the same feelings as the female. Give you an example. And a lot of times you can be dating someone or pursuing a female and she can express to you the fears that she has. She may have fears that you'll do her dirty. You may cheat on her. You may do her like the last guy, ignore her feelings, right? Treat her like her opinion doesn't matter. And all of these things, that's obviously we get it, right? We know there are men out there who will just take advantage of you for your body, or they just want sex. They don't want anything more. And a lot of times I know women have experienced that, so they are trying to prevent this thing from happening again, which is understandable, but there's a way to go about it. When you're trying to do this with a man with men who don't really know how to express their feelings, you can feel like that person doesn't care because they don't express their feelings or their emotions in the same way. That's the kicker. Men feel fear too. We don't want to be giving our time, investing our time into a woman, and she ends up not being the person that we thought she was either. We get our feelings hurt too. And many of us have given to a woman our time, our commitment, our trust, and she has broken that. You understand? Now, we don't necessarily go into other relationships saying, hey, I need to know you're not going to do the same thing, because we just don't dialogue in that way. That's not our language, but we will be kind of resistant to going into that relationship, where a lot of times women will just see that as he doesn't like to commit. That's not the thing. He just is not explaining himself well on why he doesn't want to give him himself before he knows who you are too. So what I'm trying to say is both parties should recognize this. You're adult. The one thing you've learned about your past relationship is that relationships can end. They don't always end the way they started beautifully, right? Sometimes they end up a pure mess. Sometimes you can have a conversation with a person and walk away and there's no, anger held amongst one another. But many relationships end because they realize they're not compatible, right? You have to understand this when you're dating, or else you're going to feel resentment for that person or others who you haven't even met yet, right? Potential courters, right? Potential future courters. You're going to feel resentment towards them as well. They did nothing wrong. So here's what I'm saying. We're adults. If you're dating, you have to understand there is a risk that it may not last forever. Both parties have to understand that. And you cannot keep leading with your fear, because your fear is going to push that person away. I want you to imagine this. You're driving a car, you get in a horrible accident. So now you have this trauma associated with driving. A relationship is a lot like riding in that car. You're on that journey. Many things are going to happen along that journey. You have to take into account that you're going into this journey with a passenger now, right? It's not just you anymore. There's now a passenger, and passengers like to give direction, right? Passengers like to criticize, tell you how they like to be treated, tell you how they like to be spoken to, and you don't get to just do things your way now. If you're driving this car and you're in fear that this relationship could end, or you're in fear that that car could crash again or someone else could run into you, you're going to lay on your brakes. You're not really going to drive. You're going to be hitting your brakes every few seconds, right? Being fearful of what may happen. That would make the passenger likely complain. What's going on? Do you just need me to drive? And now you're getting frustrated because you're not comfortable with anyone driving because of your last trauma. You don't trust that person, and you don't trust yourself, right? What I'm saying is we got to get to a point to where we understand that these things can happen, but you cannot lead with these things. You understand? Men feel fear too. And I want you women to understand that, because we understand that you guys feel it, but when we express our fear, when we express our concerns, we often get told that we're sensitive, because women are not used to men expressing themselves in that way. So let's just say if I have a woman who's saying, hey, before we do this, most of the time meaning sex, I need to know that you're gonna be there for me. So now it's on me to make this commitment before we go there, right? But I'm not ready to make that commitment because I don't know her that well. So now no sex is gonna happen, because now I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to pull back because I don't wanna hurt her. I hear her fears, she's made them loud and clear, and that actually reflects on my fears, because I don't want you to not trust me and I haven't given you a reason to. And it's an indication that you don't trust me, because you're warning me before we do this. You want me to know you're not trying to play any games. Sometimes you just have to enjoy the ride and let the magic happen, understanding that yes, there's a risk, but always letting someone know your fears ahead of time can push that person away. You understand? Myself included. If I feel that that person is going to behave in that way where I have to feel like I have to force her to trust me or earn her trust, all these things that I haven't did any, there's no debt that I have towards her. I haven't hurt her, so I don't have to repay that, and I shouldn't have to, right? I should be able to go into this relationship with her and just build. Let's not worry about the last relationship. Let's not worry about how rickety your other house was. Let's just build this new one, right? I understand that you don't want to go through what you went through last, but you have to take this risk if you're going to be in a relationship. In other words, if you're going to get on the road, you better be willing to know that there are going to be other drivers, and there's going to be a risk if you get in an accident. If not, don't get on the road. Don't get in a relationship at all if you're going to be that fearful, because you could be the very person ruining the relationship. Now, the way men are raised and the way women are raised, which is total opposite to building a healthy relationship, this creates adverse effects to the relationship. Adverse means to slow down productivity or to prevent something from blossoming, to prevent evolving. Adverse. That's what happens. It becomes an adverse effect on that particular relationship or many other relationships that you may pursue in life, because you've been taught to view life and see it in a certain way. Men feel every bit of the emotions that women feel. Where you feel pain, a woman will say, I'm hurt. A man will say, I'm pissed, right? A woman may say, I feel abandoned. A man may say, you made me mad. And it may come out in a voice raising or anger versus crying in the bathroom. You understand? Both are trying to tell you that they feel a certain way. We have to learn to respect how other people feel, even when they're not telling you and using the exact same words. Pain don't always look like pain. You understand? I want you guys to really consider this when pursuing relationships, that it's not wise to go into them with these type of fears. And when someone expresses to you their fear, don't make them the bad person by saying, hey, you just don't want to commit. That may not be it. It takes a while to get to know someone to decide if you want to commit into a relationship with that person. I for one need to know that I can communicate with you, that if I tell you how I feel, I'm not going to be called sensitive. If I tell you what I think, I'm not going to be called stupid. You see what I'm saying? I want to know that when I speak to you, you listen. I want to not listen as in do what I say, but hear me out and show me that you hear me out. This is how you grow together. And I believe that's what women want too, right? I believe that's what you guys also want. So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that this morning. There's so much to say on that topic. So I'm going to stop here before I just keep going on. The video is getting long now as it is, but we'll come back to this. Just remember, family, we cannot always push people away before we bring them closer. Sometimes we have to learn that there's going to be risks involved. It may not last forever, but it's what you learn during that time that is happening. Enjoy the moments without trying to control eternity. You understand? Be evolution, be the change that you want to see, and no candle loses its flame from lighting the other. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it is in that chaos that you will find yourself. Peace, family.